All right, quick video here on the C2 XP, more of an update video, I guess. Took this thing out to the lake last weekend. Ran great on the trailer, put it in the water, no power. So a few things I've already done. I actually started replacing the fuel lines. You see, pulling out some of the old gray lines that were in here, running new lines from the oil injection. When I pull the carburetors, I'm lucky, I guess this motor isn't locked up, but at one of these injection lines, at some point somebody pulled the carbs off and actually pinched the injection line behind the carburetor. You can see here where it was actually caught. So yeah, I don't know how oil is getting through there. Maybe it must have been, but looking at the line itself, it looked pretty dry. So I think just luckily the thing didn't run well, I guess. But anyway, that was one of the major issues. Another issue is there was RV silicone all over everything. The carbs were pretty dirty. Got them all cleaned up. The fuel lines were actually pretty nasty too. Let me see if I got a few of these down here. You can see how the inside of that, I mean, nasty green crap that's all in the lines. Some were worse than others. There was a few that actually still didn't look too bad, but replaced all the lines. 1/4-inch hose line works well, and then this is basically like your injection line or two-stroke line for like weed eaters and stuff. So all the hoses I got at Napa. So anyway, I'm getting these reran. One thing I screwed up. Got in a hurry, put the carbs back on, and after I got everything put on, I realized that I forgot a filter. So, which you guys can probably see, maybe all the junk that's in the filter. So I'm gonna clean it up, pull the carbs back off real quick, and put the filter in. So more work, but oh well. At least I caught it now and wasn't after I had some more stuff put in. So trying to think what else I've got. Again, running all the fuel lines, all new, up to the front. Got a manual I printed out to kind of tell me what lines are what up there, as far as what goes to the filter and so on, through the on-off switch and reserve over on the side there. But again, I'll finish replacing all those lines. Another thing I ran into here on the tune pipe, flip it over here, it had a nice pinhole here, or just water had set in here and rotted out. So I took a wire brush, got all the paint taken off of it, and just put some JB Weld over the top of that. So should take care of that. Hopefully we'll see how that all holds up. But yeah, again, plan to pull the carbs off and put the filter back in, get them all put back in, rerun these fuel lines, and clean it up, put it back together, and see what it does hopefully this week. So real quick, I want to add to this video, one thing I'm doing is priming these lines before I finish putting everything together. So how I do that is basically hook up your lines, run them where they need to. I pull the plugs out of the motor. It's easier to turn over that way. Throw your spark plugs off the side. You can put them back here if you need to, but I just tuck them out of the way. And then basically pull your throttle in and turn it over. You can see that as the oil pumps pumps through. I mean, it does two things. One, you can see the fluid actually pumping through the line, so you know your pump's working. And two, you're pre-filling, getting all the lines ready. So one thing, I let it go for just a little bit, let it rest, so that way you're not burning the starter up as well. But definitely a good idea. Prime your lines before you hook everything up and fire it up. That way you know for sure you're getting oil into the engine. So thought I'd throw that in there. Again, what I got left, I'm starting to put the air filters. I've already pulled the carbs back off, got the little filter put back in it, and yeah, right down putting it all back together. I think I'm getting really close to having this thing back up. Again, I've got to get the fuel line sorted out up here. I think I'm actually going to do away with the reserve on-off switch up here, and basically just hook up my vent and then put a probably a T in and tie that to my fuel lines back to my carb. So then there won't be any issues. I've read a lot of stuff online with these little rubber, or I think it's an O-ring that's probably sitting in behind here, kind of like a petcock on a motorcycle. But basically, it starts deteriorating, and then you start getting chunks in it. It plugs off and different things. So I'm probably just going to get rid of it, put an inline fuel filter, and run them back and see how that all works. So again, wanted to throw a video here of how I prime my oil injection lines. Not a whole lot to it, but thought I'd throw it out there and go from there. I may kind of throw a little video here on the fuel lines once I get them sorted out on what goes to what here. That way somebody else is watching this, they can have that too. So all right, little follow up here. Got everything put back together. As you can see, I've got the head off of the jet ski. I actually got everything hooked up, fired the jet ski up, ran great, sounded a lot better. Idled, sounded really good. Hooked the hose up to it. Everything sounded really good. And then it started leaking water out of here. So ended up being there was a chunk of gasket that at some point was completely folded up on the outside. It actually honestly looked like it had never been up underneath, like it was installed, like it got kicked out when they put it together. So not 100% sure what happened there, but who knows, it may have blown it out. I don't know how, there's not a lot of pressure there, but it was out there. So made my own gaskets to go in here. Had some gasket material the same thickness, so made my own gaskets, setting it on the cylinders, and cutting some of it out with an X-Acto knife, and then using a small ball peen to tap out the rest. So got a gasket made for both jugs here, and I'm right now putting it all back together, getting ready to as soon as I get these snugged up, get the torque wrench out and torque them down to 30 foot-pounds. So we'll see what this thing does once I get everything snugged up. But hoping that we're good once I get her back up and going here. Yeah, wasn't terrible to pull this off, but not really something I wanted to do the night before we plan to go to the lake. So we'll see how this all comes together. But definitely ran a lot better. Wasn't leaking any water out of the tune pipe or anything like that anymore where I JB welded. So basically, like I said, I'm going to torque these down, torque the heads down. I'm actually going to pull this off before. I'm going to see what's going on with these. Not 100% sure. I think they're supposed to be down up until the point of RPMs. You start revving up and then they push out. But I'm gonna pull them apart, look at them, clean them up, see kind of what they are. But again, yeah, wasn't really planning to pull the cylinders off and build gaskets for it. But again, it's doable. It's really not that complicated of a motor. Most two-strokes are pretty simple. So the good news is this one here, I could actually do it all from inside the hull. There's enough clearance to get to everything, so it wasn't terrible. But anyway, I'll cut back when I get everything put together. Thanks for watching. All right, YouTube, gonna add on to the Sea-Doo XP video. I haven't posted anything yet or uploaded anything to YouTube yet on this jet ski, mostly because I haven't officially had it running right. So one thing that I found out after doing some research, my rave valves were actually missing some parts. So this is what it should look like. I rebuilt it, put all new boots on it, gaskets, a little rubber O-ring. Basically just rebuilt the rave valves and got them to where I believe they're correct now. So putting the caps back on, getting them set where they need to be. The other thing that I am going to do, I've got the carbs currently off of the jet ski. I don't know how well you guys can see down in there, but they're off. So I'm going to rebuild those again. Actually rebuild them. Last time I just cleaned them, so I'm going to actually rebuild them, all new internals and whatnot, and put those back on. I plan to go back to the lake this weekend, and we'll see how things go. But the last couple times I've had it out, really nothing's changed. Runs great on the trailer, put it in the water, and there's no power. Maybe 5 miles an hour at best. So there's a few other things I'm still learning with these. One thing I did notice, so back here on my, I believe they call this like the water or box or something. I don't know the exact terminology for it, but anyway, there's supposed to be a water regulator. It comes off of here and then tees in to, I believe, this blue water line, or this line right here, which they've got brought up here, and then that piece is, I don't know how well you can see that, but ties in down there and just runs on over up to the front here. So to me it looks like they've just completely taken it out of the system. Again, I don't 100% sure know if it needs it or not, if that's one of the issues. Again, if anybody has any advice on this, I'm more than willing to listen and try whatever. So up to this point, I will have completely rebuilt and gone through carburetors, rave valves cleaned, gone through, all new fuel lines. Actually, currently the reserve on-off fuel switch is out of the jet ski. I've just taken it completely out of the system and bypassed it. I'm trying to think what else. I've actually pulled the front cover off, cleaned the pickup for the coil. Seems that everything there seems to be working. I seem to be getting good spark. Even when it's not running correctly, I can pull a plug off out in the water and the jet ski will die. So it does seem to be getting spark on both cylinders. I've got great compression on both cylinders. Pistons, rings, everything looked really well when I pulled the cylinders off and replaced the bottom gasket there. Yeah, I really don't seem to have any other issues. There is a very, very slight leak up here on where your tune pipe or whatever you want to call it ties in up here. Very, very, like, just barely drips. So yeah, other than that, I don't really know where to go next. So again, going to try this. Hopefully I'll have this out on the water. I'll probably post this video actually right before we head to the lake. So fingers crossed that this takes care of it, and I'll finally get to actually ride this instead of drag it and look at it on the beach. So we'll see how it goes. Again, anybody that can help me out, would love any feedback at all, and would love it if you guys hit that subscribe button and like it if you like the content. Thanks for watching.